Chosen one, what if I told you that your loneliness isn't a flaw? It's a sign that your need for space, your discomfort in crowds, and the exhaustion you feel around certain people aren't random. They're divine signals. It's not that you're antisocial or overly sensitive. It's that your energy is prophetic. You've been set apart, not to be punished, but to be prepared. You might have spent years feeling misunderstood, but what if the reason so many pull away from you or seem to attack your light is because they can't handle your frequency? This video will uncover the hidden truth about your separation, reveal the deeper purpose behind your sensitivity, and show you why God's hand is all over this process. If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. By the end of this video, you'll understand that your solitude isn't a weakness. It's the foundation of your strength. Divine separation versus social rejection. It can be so disorienting, can't it? That feeling of standing just outside the circle, always watching but never quite belonging. You've looked around at others and wondered why it seems so easy for them, why their connections seem effortless, their acceptance automatic. And yet, no matter how hard you've tried to fit in, something keeps pulling you back. Maybe you've questioned what you said, what you did, or who you are, replaying interactions over and over again, searching for where it went wrong. The loneliness can feel crushing at times, leaving you to wonder if there's something fundamentally flawed within you. But here's the thing, you're not alone in this. There are others who feel it too. Others who have been called to walk a different path, one that doesn't follow the usual map. The discomfort you feel isn't rejection. It's a sign that you were never meant to stay in that crowd. It's not about exclusion. It's about elevation. Still, it's not easy to accept. There's a raw, aching pain that comes with feeling left out, especially when it happens repeatedly. You might remember a time when you tried to share a piece of your heart, only to be met with blank stares or polite smiles that never reached their eyes. Or perhaps there were moments when you thought you'd found your tribe, only to feel a subtle shift, a cooling of relationships you thought were solid. It's enough to make anyone question their worth. But it's deeper than that, isn't it? It's not just that you're different. It's that your differences seem to make others uncomfortable. Maybe you speak with a conviction that others shy away from. Maybe your honesty cuts through the surface-level chatter, revealing truths people aren't ready to confront. Whatever it is, you sense that your presence changes the atmosphere. And that can feel like both a blessing and a curse. Consider the story of Elijah, who found himself on Mount Horeb, alone and despairing. After performing great miracles, after standing boldly before false prophets, he felt utterly isolated. He cried out to God, "I have had enough, Lord. I am the only one left." 1 Kings 19 verses 4 and 10. Yet in that moment of solitude, God didn't rebuke Elijah. Instead, he drew close. He spoke not through wind, earthquake, or fire, but in a gentle whisper. Elijah's isolation was not a punishment. It was a divine encounter. It was in the stillness, away from the noise of the crowd, that God gave Elijah the clarity and direction he needed. This isn't just an ancient story, it's a reminder for you. Your separation isn't meant to diminish you. It's designed to draw you into a deeper relationship with God. It's meant to give you the space to hear that still, small voice. And you've probably already started noticing the signs. Those moments of clarity that come when you're alone, the way certain doors close and others open seemingly out of nowhere. There's a shift happening, subtle at first, but undeniable. The more you lean into the solitude, the more you find that your spirit feels lighter. The confusion begins to fade. The bitterness that once threatened to take root softens into understanding. You might find that you're no longer chasing after acceptance, no longer trying to force connections that don't align with who you truly are. Instead, you're drawn toward people and opportunities that resonate with the person you're becoming. These shifts aren't just random. They're the fruits of God's work in your life, clearing away what no longer serves you and making room for what does. It's also important to recognize that you're not walking this journey alone. Even when it feels like you're the only one on this path, higher forces are at work. There's a reason why certain people fell away, why some groups never felt like home. It wasn't because you lacked something. It was because God was protecting you from relationships and environments that would have drained your spirit. This is a divine strategy. Think of it like a gardener pruning a tree. At first, the cuts seem harsh, and the tree looks bare. But over time, it becomes clear that each cut was necessary to help the tree grow stronger and bear more fruit. In the same way, your separation is God's way of pruning your life, making you stronger and more prepared for the purpose ahead. The people who remain, the opportunities that come, the clarity you gain, these are all signs that you're exactly where you're meant to be. But it's not just about recognizing these signs. It's about embracing them. It's one thing to understand that you've been set apart. It's another to fully step into that reality. Many people resist this calling because it feels safer to stay in familiar patterns, to keep trying to fit in. But true alignment requires letting go of the old and stepping into the new. It requires accepting that you're not meant to blend in, that your path is unique. This isn't easy. It means facing the unknown, confronting your fears, and trusting that what God has planned for you is far better than anything you could have chosen for yourself. This is the moment when you stop seeing your separation as rejection and start seeing it as a gift. It's the moment when you decide to own your identity, to walk boldly in the calling you've been given. So what's next? Now that you've recognized your separation for what it is, it's time to move forward with confidence. Stop looking back at what didn't work and start focusing on what's ahead. Trust that God is leading you, even when the road isn't clear. Strengthen your relationship with Him. Seek out connections with others who understand your journey, and continue to grow in the gifts you've been given. This is a season of preparation, not punishment. The doors that are meant for you will open, and the people who are meant to walk with you will appear. But first, you must walk forward, fully owning the path that's been laid out for you. Let go of the need to explain yourself or justify your choices. You don't owe anyone an explanation for being who you were created to be. Comment elevated if this resonates with you. You're not being rejected, you're being elevated. God isolates His strongest warriors before sending them out. Think of David, alone in the fields with his sheep, learning to fight off lions and bears before he ever faced Goliath. That isolation wasn't rejection, it was preparation. In the same way, your solitude is a spiritual classroom. It's the space where God sharpens your discernment, strengthens your resilience, and tunes your spirit to hear His voice more clearly. When you start to see your separation through this lens, it stops feeling like punishment and starts looking like a divine strategy. Comment separate if you feel this resonates with your spirit. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community, a private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join the Prop Heron membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. Energetic misalignment and spiritual sensitivity. There's a certain weight that comes from walking into a room and instantly feeling the atmosphere shift. You've experienced it, haven't you? That heavy sense of disarray, the unspoken tension that hangs in the air. It's like stepping into a whirlwind of unspoken emotions, unaddressed truths, and hidden agendas. No one says it outright, but you feel it as soon as you enter. You notice the subtle glances, the undercurrents of discomfort, the way conversations suddenly change or fall silent. It's not paranoia, nor is it coincidence. You're picking up on the energy of the space, and it's draining you in ways that words can't fully explain. It's exhausting, trying to maintain your own clarity and peace while navigating environments that seem to pull you in 1,000 different directions. The frustration builds because, while others might walk through those same rooms unbothered, you can't help but feel the chaos pressing down on you. And yet, deep down, you know this sensitivity is not a flaw. It's a part of who you are, one you're only beginning to understand. The challenge, though, is that it can feel isolating. Imagine pouring out your energy, hoping to connect, only to end the day feeling more depleted than before. Maybe you've been in situations where you tried to bring peace, to lighten the atmosphere, but instead found yourself overwhelmed by the heaviness of others' unresolved issues. Perhaps you've dealt with people who seem pleasant on the surface, yet their underlying emotions drain you in ways that linger long after you've left. Over time, this can make you question whether something is wrong with you, why you can't just ignore it, why you can't stay unaffected like others seem to. But the truth is, what you're experiencing isn't a weakness. It's a sign of something greater at work. Your sensitivity is a kind of spiritual radar, a gift that allows you to detect energies, emotions, and dynamics that most people overlook. It's not about rejection. It's about recognizing that you carry something within you that others may not understand, something that reveals more than they're ready to see. The Bible offers insight into this kind of light. In Matthew 5 verses 14 to 16, Jesus describes his followers as the light of the world, a city on a hill that cannot be hidden. Your presence, your light, exposes what is hidden in the dark. And while that sounds beautiful, it can also be unsettling. For you and for those around you, light isn't always welcome. It reveals truths that people would rather keep buried. It highlights wounds they haven't healed, fears they haven't faced, and insecurities they prefer to ignore. So when you walk into a room carrying that light, it's no wonder some people pull away or lash out. It's not personal. It's not because you've done something wrong. It's because the very essence of who you are challenges their comfort zone. Like a beacon piercing through a foggy night, your light disrupts what was once hidden. And while that's a powerful and sacred gift, it can also feel like a heavy burden. But here's what's shifting. You're beginning to see that your sensitivity is not random. It's not just a reaction to your environment. It's a tool, a guide. More and more, you're noticing that you have the ability to discern which spaces are aligned with your energy and which are not. You're recognizing when it's time to leave a conversation or remove yourself from a group. You're sensing the difference between people who uplift your spirit and those who quietly drain it. And as you pay closer attention to these signs, you're finding that you no longer feel obligated to stay in spaces that don't resonate. The more you honor this gift, the more you find yourself naturally gravitating towards situations and relationships that reflect your light rather than diminish it. It's like tuning an instrument. Over time, the discord becomes easier to identify, and you grow more confident in aligning yourself with the harmony you've been seeking. Behind this transformation, there's something greater at work. What might have once felt like a curse, this overwhelming sensitivity to energy, was never meant to harm you. Instead, it's been shaping you, refining your awareness, and preparing you for a greater purpose. Each experience you've had, each moment of feeling out of place or misunderstood, has been teaching you to trust your intuition. It's been showing you that not every environment is meant for you and not every relationship will support your light. This isn't just happenstance. This is divine orchestration. What felt like chaotic emotions were actually lessons in discernment. What seemed like random rejections were moments of divine protection. Slowly but surely, you've been guided toward spaces where your light will shine its brightest. You're beginning to see how all these seemingly disconnected events have been weaving together into a pattern. One that reveals a destiny you're only now stepping into. And that realization is powerful. It's the moment when you understand that you're not at the mercy of your sensitivity, you're in control of it. Many people shy away from this awareness because it comes with responsibility. It requires you to set boundaries, to say no when you need to, and to accept that not everyone will understand you. It demands courage to walk away from environments that feel wrong, even when you can't fully explain why. But it also offers freedom. When you stop fighting your gift and start embracing it, you open the door to deeper peace, greater clarity, and stronger relationships. You realize that your sensitivity isn't a burden. It's a compass. It points you toward the places and people that align with your purpose and away from those that don't. This isn't a passive process. It's an active choice to live in alignment with who you truly are. Now is the time to step into that reality. Don't hold back. Don't let fear or doubt keep you in spaces that drain you. Trust what you've learned. Trust the guidance you've been given. You don't need to apologize for being sensitive or feel guilty for leaving situations that no longer serve you. Instead, use this newfound understanding to create a life that supports your light. Strengthen your spiritual practice. Surround yourself with people who celebrate your energy rather than deplete it. And most importantly, continue to honor the gift of discernment you've been given. This is your moment to embrace who you truly are and to walk forward with confidence, knowing that your sensitivity is not just a gift, it's your superpower. Comment light if this resonates with you. What felt like rejection is actually alignment. Your sensitivity is not a flaw, it's a gift. Crowds carry mixed frequencies, but you carry light. Your vibration disrupts spiritual imbalances, causing discomfort in people who aren't ready to face themselves. That's why they pull away or sometimes lash out. It's not you they're rejecting. It's the truth your presence reveals. This is your time to choose carefully where you bring your light, to honor your energy, and to walk forward into the life you were always meant to live. Empathy as a weapon and a warning system. It's draining, isn't it? Feeling like you're carrying the emotional weight of everyone around you. The conversations that linger in your mind long after they've ended. The random bursts of sadness or anger that hit you out of nowhere. They're not even yours, yet you feel them as though they are. You're exhausted by the constant push and pull, the endless stream of emotions that seem to find their way into your soul, no matter how hard you try to block them out. And then there's the frustration. You wonder, why can't I just turn it off? Why can't I let things roll off my back like others do? But you can't. You feel everything. And because of that, it's so easy to see this sensitivity as a curse. It's tempting to think something is wrong with you, to believe you're too soft, too sensitive, too much. Yet, despite the exhaustion, despite the self-doubt, a small part of you knows there's more to this than meets the eye. Deep down, you sense that this sensitivity, this empathy, might be something greater than a burden. But that doesn't erase the struggle. The weight of absorbing emotions that aren't yours can feel unbearable. You've been in rooms where the tension is so thick it clings to your skin, where people are smiling and chatting, yet underneath it all you can feel their resentment, their jealousy, their pain. You've spent time with loved ones, only to leave feeling drained and heavy, as though you've carried their problems home with you. And it's not because you're weak or overly emotional. It's because your gift of empathy allows you to sense things most people miss. You don't just hear their words, you feel their energy. You notice the crack in their voice, the shift in their tone, the slight tension in their shoulders. And while this can give you incredible insight, it also makes it nearly impossible to shield yourself from the emotional storms swirling around you. The very gift that allows you to understand others so deeply can also leave you feeling lost in their emotions, unable to find your own center. Consider the story of Joseph in Genesis 41. After years of being misunderstood, betrayed, and thrown into a pit of rejection, Joseph found himself standing before Pharaoh. It was his ability to interpret dreams, to see beyond the surface, to sense what others couldn't, that ultimately saved Egypt from famine. But that gift didn't come without hardship. It isolated him. It made him a target. Yet, in the end, it proved to be his greatest strength. Your empathy works the same way. It's not just about feeling what others feel. It's about using that sensitivity to discern truth, to cut through the surface and see the deeper issues at play. Like Joseph, you may have felt the sting of being misunderstood or taken advantage of. But also like Joseph, you are being prepared. Your gift isn't just a tool. It's a weapon in spiritual warfare, one that can expose deception, reveal hidden motives, and guide you, and others, toward healing and truth. You've probably started to notice shifts in how you approach this gift. There was a time when it felt uncontrollable, like a flood you couldn't hold back. But now you're beginning to see the patterns. You're learning to recognize when you're taking on emotions that aren't yours. You're becoming more aware of when your energy feels depleted and when it feels restored. Maybe you've started setting boundaries, distancing yourself from people who constantly pull from your well without giving anything in return. Or perhaps you've begun seeking out moments of quiet, times to reflect, to pray, to recharge. These shifts may feel small, but they're signs that you're learning to manage your gift rather than being controlled by it. You're tuning your radar, refining your discernment, and slowly but surely, you're gaining mastery over something that once felt overwhelming. What's really happening here is a divine process. God has allowed these experiences not to punish you, but to prepare you. Each moment of emotional overwhelm, each instance of feeling drained, has been a lesson in boundaries, in self-care, in understanding your limits. Every time you've had to step away to create space to say no, you've been strengthening your ability to use empathy wisely. This isn't about turning off your gift. It's about learning how to direct it, God has been guiding you to recognize when to lean in and when to pull back. When you're connected to Him, when you take the time to be still and listen, you find that your discernment grows sharper. You begin to see patterns you couldn't before. You start to sense what's true and what's not, what's yours to carry and what isn't. Slowly but surely, you realize that your empathy isn't a liability. It's a divinely crafted tool that's being honed for a purpose greater than you imagined. But this awareness requires acceptance. So many people resist their gifts because they don't understand them. They try to block them out, to ignore them, to pretend they don't exist. But true alignment comes when you stop fighting your gift and start embracing it. This means acknowledging that your sensitivity is real, that it's powerful, and that it's something you must steward carefully. It means recognizing that you don't have to absorb every emotion you feel, that it's okay to protect your energy, and that solitude isn't selfish, it's necessary. It's about stepping into your power fully, no longer apologizing for your sensitivity, and no longer feeling guilty for needing space to recharge. This is the moment when you realize that being an empath isn't about feeling everything. It's about knowing how to use what you feel to guide yourself and others toward healing, truth, and clarity. Now that you see this gift for what it is, it's time to move forward with confidence. Trust that God is guiding you, that He's equipping you to handle this gift with grace and wisdom. Take the time you need to rest, to pray, to reflect, so that you can use your empathy as it was intended, to help, to heal, to discern. Lean into your spiritual practices. Surround yourself with people who honor your boundaries and respect your energy. Seek out spaces where you can recharge, where your gift is appreciated rather than exploited. And remember, you're not on this journey alone. Divine support is with you every step of the way, helping you refine your gift and use it to fulfill the purpose you've been called to. Comment, discern, if this resonates with you. Your empathy is not a curse, it's a gift. Your sensitivity is not a weakness, it's a strength. And your solitude isn't isolation, it's preparation. Embrace the boundaries you need, the rest you deserve, and the divine guidance that is leading you. Your gift of empathy is both a weapon and a warning system. Use it wisely, and it will guide you to greater clarity, deeper understanding, and a purpose beyond what you've imagined. Silence as revelation and power. It's unsettling, isn't it? That vast, echoing silence after the chaos dies down. When the distractions fall away and all that remains is you and your thoughts. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. You've spent so much time navigating the noise of opinions, obligations, and endless demands that silence can feel foreign, even daunting. It's not just the absence of sound. It's the absence of the familiar distractions that kept you busy, the background chatter that filled the void. In that stillness, you start to notice things you hadn't before. Emotions surface, thoughts deepen, and truths you may have buried rise to the surface. Yet, despite the discomfort, a part of you knows this silence holds something valuable. You can sense there's more to it than meets the ear, something profound waiting to be revealed. Still, it's not easy to trust that quiet. You may have felt lost in the stillness, unsure of what you're supposed to hear or find. The world teaches us to equate busyness with purpose, to fill every moment with activity, productivity, or entertainment. So when you step into silence, it can feel like you're doing nothing at all. Maybe you've experienced moments when you longed for an answer, a sign, a strategy, a clear path forward, and instead, you were met with silence. It can feel like a void, as though God isn't listening or hasn't heard your prayers. And in those moments, it's easy to become frustrated or disheartened. You think, why can't I hear what I need to hear? Why isn't the answer coming? This struggle is real, and it's one that many chosen ones face. But the silence you fear may be the very space you need to finally hear the guidance you've been waiting for. Remember the story of Elijah in 1 Kings 19. He fled to Mount Horeb, weary and disheartened, seeking to hear from God. While on the mountain, Elijah encountered powerful, dramatic events: a windstorm, an earthquake, and a fire. But the Lord was not in any of these grand displays. Instead, after all the noise subsided, Elijah heard a gentle whisper. It was in the stillness, in the quiet, that God spoke. This moment reveals something profound. God often chooses the quiet to make his will known. It's not about dramatic signs or overwhelming displays of power. It's about listening, waiting, and being still enough to perceive the subtle but transformative voice of God. This isn't just a story of the past. It's a pattern for how we, too, must approach the silence. Once you begin to trust that silence, you'll start to notice the subtle shifts within you. At first, it might feel faint. A small sense of peace where there was once anxiety, a glimmer of clarity where confusion reigned. Over time, as you lean into the quiet, these shifts become more pronounced. Ideas begin to form, not out of panic or pressure, but from a place of calm assurance. You start seeing connections you hadn't noticed before, understanding situations from a new perspective, and sensing the next steps you need to take. The silence is no longer empty. It's rich with potential. It becomes the space where God aligns your heart, mind, and spirit, where he gently redirects your path, offering you insights that could never come through noise and chaos. It's in this stillness that your inner world begins to harmonize with the divine timing of your life. But the silence isn't just a pause. It's a sacred strategy. God uses it to remove the distractions that block your clarity. When you're surrounded by the constant hum of voices, external and internal, it's hard to discern which direction to take. The stillness acts as a refining fire, burning away the unnecessary and leaving only what truly matters. What feels like nothing happening is actually the groundwork being laid for something greater. It's during these times of quiet that God clears obstacles from your path. Synchronicities begin to appear, divine appointments align, and resources you never imagined become available. These are not coincidences. They're the result of your willingness to step into the stillness and let God work behind the scenes. This is where faith meets preparation, and where preparation becomes the foundation for elevation. As these shifts take place, you'll find yourself at a crossroads of acceptance. Many people resist this process because silence forces them to confront what they've been avoiding. It's easier to stay busy, to keep running, to avoid the quiet where doubts, fears, and insecurities might surface. But true growth comes when you stop resisting and start embracing the stillness. This is a sacred moment. It's not just about what you hear in the silence, but what you become. You move from a state of waiting to a state of readiness, no longer afraid of what the quiet might reveal. Instead, you embrace it, knowing that every moment in stillness is preparing you for the next chapter. This is where you step into your power, not through force, but through trust and surrender to the divine process. From this place of stillness, you are empowered to move forward with clarity and purpose. The answers you sought so desperately begin to come into focus, not all at once, but steadily and surely. With each new insight, you gain confidence. The steps you once hesitated to take now feel natural and right. You stop seeking validation from the outside world and start trusting the quiet assurance within you. This is where your strength lies, not in the noise, but in the silence that shapes you. And as you continue on this path, you find that the stillness becomes a source of renewal rather than fear. It fuels your faith, sharpens your vision, and equips you to move forward with boldness and grace. Comment, whisper, if this resonates with you. God speaks in silence, not chaos. The strategies you've been waiting on, the answers you've been praying for, won't come in the noise of the crowd. They'll come in stillness. Don't mistake quiet for emptiness. It's the fertile ground where your faith, wisdom, and strength take root and flourish. In the stillness, you'll find the clarity, peace, and power you need to take your next step with confidence. Timing, not rejection. It's not easy watching others seem to move forward while you feel like you're standing still. You see people forming connections, advancing in their careers, stepping into new relationships, and building lives that look, from the outside, effortless and aligned. And you wonder, what about me? You start to question if you've been overlooked, if you're missing out on opportunities, or if you've somehow fallen behind. It's an aching feeling, isn't it? That sense that everyone else is finding their way while you're left searching in the shadows. But you're not alone in these feelings. Your silence is your strategy. Your solitude is your sanctuary. And your separation, that's where your divine instruction flows. Protect it, guard it, honor it, because your energy is sacred. Subscribe if you haven't yet, like this video, and comment "I am chosen" to let this message anchor in your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. For full prophetic revelations daily, join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light. You were made for this moment.